For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
We can't live in a world of accusations, can we? Who asked that particular question? The island records another road fatality, and we have some stats to share with you as far as road deaths for 2023 compared to last year. No referendum, no her black. All that and a whole lot more between now and 2 o'clock this afternoon as we welcome you to another edition of NewsSpin right here on Power 97.9 FM. We are also on YouTube and the NewsSpin Facebook page. I'll be taking your calls 452-2979, 452-2979, your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. Kimani has graced us with her presence, and so she will be going through some of your comments during the NewsSpin program extracted from the chat room. It was last week that the president of the Police Welfare Association, Mr. Cameron Law, convened a press conference along with other members of the executive to address a range of issues. And one of those would include allegations of sexual harassment in the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. What would have prompted him to speak on that is because the authorities, for whatever reason or reasons, they have been unwilling to conduct a probe into those allegations. Because when people make allegations, you must investigate to determine whether there is any truth to what they are alleging. And depending on the severity of what they have brought to the fore, for you to take the requisite action. So let me just go through a piece reporting on the Police Welfare Association press conference of last week. And in just a bit, I'll be conducting an interview with a particular individual, and you'll be hearing from two government ministers as well. The president of the Police Welfare Association, Cameron Law, has condemned victim shaming amid calls for an independent inquiry into sexual harassment allegations in the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Law said he had learned that several people, including civilians, had contacted the PWA executive regarding sexual harassment in the workplace. After receiving this information, I, as president, would have understood the period of time which this situation persisted. I took all necessary steps to ensure that these persons had indeed reached out to the Welfare Association and that persons in authority were aware of the allegations, he told reporters. Law recalled writing the then Police Commissioner, Cressida Descartes-Pelleus, to investigate or at least hear the individuals who had reported the allegations. He said Descartes-Pelleus indicated she would respond in writing, but so far there had been no response. Law declared that it was not the PWA's responsibility, nor within its purview to pronounce guilt or innocence on any issue. But he explained the organization's mandate was to ensure fair hearings for members to air their grievances and intervene on their behalf. His comments came amid reports of sexual harassment allegations against a senior male police officer. There is an internal culture of victim shaming and blame which we wish to address, Law told a news conference. In this regard, he asserted that every police officer is entitled to a safe workplace, and he disclosed that a request for a probe into the sexual harassment allegations had seen attacks of the worst kind against the PWA. Law noted that the attacks had been internal and external. He asserted that the development was unacceptable and would not be tolerated. At no point should it be accepted that people are run through the mud for simply requesting workplaces be made safe, investigations be pursued, and that the integrity of the organization be maintained, the PWA president told Friday's news conference. Law said it was a sad day for democracy when seeking to represent officers attracts allegations of attempting to undermine the government or influence the process of selecting a police commissioner. Every commissioner during the executive's tenure, past and present, has been met with good faith and full support, the PWA president stated. In addition, he declared that the attacks against the PWA would not prevail. Law said the sexual harassment issue predated the current PWA executive and was no new issue of conversation within the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. One would expect in an era of enlightenment that when such allegations are made, sexual harassment within the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, that there'd be some kind of demonstration of eagerness on the part of the authorities to conduct an independent probe. More so, you had St. Lucia's first female police commissioner in Cressida Descartes-Pelleus, taking over the reins of the force from October of last year to June of this year. According to the president of the PWA, a letter was written to her spelling out the allegations. Don't you expect to be normal for a female police commissioner, considering that the allegations are coming from some female police officers, at least I think 3 of them. There was 4 initially, but 1 opted out for whatever reason, to pursue the matter and ensure that it is investigated thoroughly. Because if you're a mature manager, head of a department, head of a Royal St. Lucia Police Force, if you're also a mature society, you will ensure that things of that nature are never swept under the carpet. Because today it's 3 or 4 female police officers who are making the allegations. Tomorrow it could be one of your relatives, a very close relative, could be a friend, could be anyone in the society. And what do you want to do if there is such a culture of sexual harassment in any institution, including the Royal St. Lucia Police Force? If you prove that it does exist, you want to nip it in the bud. You want to address it. Because you do not want for there to be a scintilla of any kind of situation whereby female police officers have to sleep with the senior police officers, the leadership of the force, etc., for them to be considered for a promotion. You don't want that. Those are things of 20, 30, 40 years ago that appeared to be something that was permissible, something that you tolerate, par for the course, something that you should expect. With governments making progress as far as the enactment of appropriate legislations to deal with such things of that nature, you expect that those laws will be policed. And policed by law enforcement personnel as well, police officers. And which begs the question, have we really reached a point where gains are being made on behalf of women in the workplace, girls generally speaking, despite the fact that we have had a female police commissioner, we've had a female governor general, we have female parliamentarians and female government ministers, we have female permanent secretaries. What are those people doing to ensure that there's equity, to ensure also that the rights of other women or women in the society and girls are not violated? There seems to be a deliberate effort on the part of certain institutions, certain individuals in those institutions to maintain the status quo. And so, we hear from Dr. Virginia Albert Poleon just recently, speaking on this allegation of sexual harassment in the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. And she's saying, you have to prove such allegations in the court. But you have to start somewhere. It does not necessarily, because, you could easily cause a claim or allegation to disappear because the person who's making the allegation, you say to them, this thing must be taken before the courts. The police cannot do anything about it. That is sufficient reason, and that's one way of discouraging the person who is making the allegation. That is one way of saying that this thing will not get anywhere. Let's sweep it under the carpet. It will be delayed. You have to find your own attorney. Comes at a significant cost. In the meantime, what will happen to you as a person who is making that allegation? You will be victimized. And it's not only, victimization is not only involved in St. Lucia politicians who abuse their powers. It could also involve other actors. Your Royal St. Lucia Police Force, teaching service, you name it. And a lot of us listening to this broadcast and watching the broadcast right now, we have been around for a while. We know what it means when you're told, take this matter before the courts. We can't do anything about it. And so, the police commissioner demits office in June, female, a woman. She was written on these allegations, never even responded to the letter, according to the head of the Police Welfare Association. And you also have Dr. Virginia Albert Poleon, Home Affairs Minister, treating this issue as if it is something that, should not be touched. Something that is not of concern, is of little consequence. It's just an allegation. And the courts would have to determine whether somebody has done something wrong. Let's listen to Dr. Virginia Albert Poleon.
The issue of allegations are usually proven in the court, and in the absence of evidence to prove it in the court, there's not much you can do about it. So these issues, I allow them to play themselves in the hands of the law enforcement.
Before it gets to the court, what happens, Dr. Virginia Albert Poyet? Do you just take a matter and take it before the courts? Or you carry out as thorough an investigation as is possible, and if the evidence that you stumble upon during the course of your investigation would prove that somebody has questions to answer, then you take it before the courts. Don't give the impression that an allegation and then you just take it to the court. This must be preceded by an investigation. And that is what the Police Welfare Association has been requesting. And the question is, what's so difficult about conducting such an investigation? We will hear from the Prime Minister of this country in just a moment on the same allegations, when he says, among other things, we can't live in a world of accusations, can we? And my response to that, no, Mr. Prime Minister, we can't. But get to the bottom of the issue through a probe. Can we, Mr. Prime Minister? Can we investigate? And people claim to love the women of this country. And when women find themselves being powerless, when their cries are being ignored, even when they make an allegation, how should they feel? Joining the broadcast is Ms. Felicia Dujon, a University of the West Indies lecturer. I think she is online. So let us see if we can speak with her right now, as we say. Good afternoon to you, ma'am.
Hi, good afternoon, Timothy, and good afternoon to your viewers and listeners as well.
Good afternoon to you. Have you been following this development involving the Royal St. Lucia Police Force? I know you're based in Barbados.
I have been, and it's Tim, even if I'm based in Barbados, I'm still a St. Lucian, and I still, as an active member of society, I believe that this matter is very unfortunate. It is unfortunate because we are hearing a female minister making such claims about dealing with gender-based violence. It is a form of gender-based violence. And again, to allude to the fact that someone who has already made, at least taken the first step to report the matter to the authorities, and whether the authorities is someone that she works within the same department, I believe that the minister, I think she needs to really reflect on what she shared in the public domain, because what you're saying is that there are other women who may be victims of such gender-based violence or gender-based crimes, and to hear someone in the position of authority is almost deterring them to come forward, because if you're telling them the transition and the whole process is overbearing and they have to go through the legalities and all of these things, it deters women and it deters victims to come forward. So it's very unfortunate. And also for the Prime Minister, I don't even think the Prime Minister understands the nature of sexual harassment, because if the Prime Minister understood the very heinous nature of sexual harassment and what it does to the individual, he would have been more encouraging to bring this matter forward and to ensure that there's some kind of accountability, there's some kind of transparency, and there's some kind of integrity within the force. This is what we expect from a prime minister, and this is what we expect from a female minister of government, to provide the kind of, I think, security and aid for individuals. This is what St. Lucian and female St. Lucians expect from the representative. So even when we speak about the law, Tim, and I hope I'm not taking you too far.
No, you're okay.
There is a report in 2022 from the U.S. Embassy that speaks about various areas of human rights violations and concerns in St. Lucia. And one of the areas that it highlighted was the nature of sexual harassment. And it defines and it makes clearly states that most cases of sexual harassment were handled in the workplace rather than prosecuted under the law or persecuted under the law. So that tells you quite a lot. What are some of the kinds of, I would say, procedures that is being done in terms of victims of those kinds of violence that is being done to women in the workplace? So workplace sexual harassment is a very important area that people have to look at in terms of the discrimination that is being done against women. And sexual harassment, let's be very clear, it's not only immune to women, but also to men, because men do get sexually harassed as well. But it's just that we have a very high level of women being harassed. So even in the criminal code, it speaks about sexual harassment. The labor code speaks about sexual harassment. If you look at interpretation on page 4, part 1, it defines what sexual harassment is, that unwanted conduct of a sexual nature in the workplace. Also, the equal opportunity and treatment in the workplace. All of these pieces of legislation speak specifically about sexual harassment. So I do not understand why government officials will make citizens believe that there is no recourse to such allegations or accusations that the terms that they want to use at it. There are legislations that are there to guide the government, that is there to guide the persons that are responsible, that is there to guide the persons in authority so that they know what is required of them.
But why would any institution, any government, any leader of a country turn a blind eye to such allegations?
Tim, if I really have to answer that question, it also makes me feel that either he's unaware of the legality of sexual harassment, or he does not want to take it, or I would say any leader who does not understand the very serious nature of sexual harassment in the workplace, what it does to the individual, what it does to their families. If in the case of a female, you can almost imagine a female has to be dealing with that kind of violation within the workspace. This is how people make their livelihood. This is how people feed their children. And they go into a place where they are constantly violated by those in authority. And you're seeing leaders that should know better, like the prime minister and a female minister, making those kinds of claims in a public domain. It's unfortunate. It is really unfortunate that they can make those claims rather to provide a safe haven for persons. The argument that is just an accusation speaks very loudly of what the prime minister and the minister thinks about sexual harassment. To be quite honest with you, any claims or any allegations of sexual harassment within any workspace should have been investigated, and the alleged perpetrator should be placed on leave until the investigation is done and processed. We cannot have several allegations against an individual who still carries a post of leadership within that kind of institution or any institution. This is the police force that we're speaking of. And if we have any individual that has been accused or there's any allegations of sexual harassment in any form, that particular individual should be placed on leave until this matter is investigated. And the only place that it could be investigated is by the police. They have the resources to do what is necessary. So we need to stop making excuses within our society when people are being abused, when people are being violated by people who should know better, who should know the law. If you can't find it in the criminal code, you can look in the labor code. It is there. So if they don't have an understanding, anyone can pull up any piece of those legislations and they will see that sexual harassment is a criminal offense.
So where is civil society in all that?
Well, civil society, I really don't understand that civil society are not advocating a lot more in terms of this. We have a culture where we believe that sexual harassment is, it's don't take it too seriously. But of course, team, as I said, to every individual, if you're going to work to create a source of income for your family, you do not want to be going to work and somebody violating you, sexually harassing you because of your gender, because of your sex, and make you feel inferior, belittle you. and do not take into consideration that you are a human being, you come to work, you have your qualifications, you have the right to be there just like the male authority. So all of those we have to take into consideration. And I said before, if the minister and the prime minister could make such statements, what it actually does, it allows persons that have been doing those kinds of unethical actions, it allows them to get the pass or to get away with it because they believe that nobody will really take it serious. So when victims come to them, well, nobody will take you serious because this is part of the nature. This is how things work. But as a human rights advocate, I will say no. As a female, I will also say no. And I will also advocate for all women and men as well, that if you've been harassed in any way within your workplace, you have the right to stand up because you did not sign up for that. You know that's well-known song from Trinidad, you can keep your money and I will keep my honey. You know that song?
And die with my dignity.
So, and die with your dignity, because it's not something that we should be. We do not encourage any kind of sex slave and enslavement within in workplaces, and having someone to be in that kind of environment from day one. And something else that we need to think very deeply about, because if that person is in a level of authority, what does it mean for the person's promotions or appraisal? This is the same individual that if you do not, I would have in terms of transfer your sexual relations or whatever that person is looking to do, whatever that it is, that person can affect the growth of that individual professionally. So we cannot have that kind of accusation, if they want to use that term, or allegation. Those are very serious allegations, and we should never allow anyone to believe that they will not be reprimanded for it. And what the Prime Minister and what the Minister is doing is a disservice and injustice to victims that are out there, that are suffering in silence because they believe that if they come forward, people like them will tell them, well, it's a long process. It's a deterrent when you do that. You should be encouraging people to make reports. You should be encouraging victims to come forward.
What is the way forward, finally?
The way forward right now is to, if there are allegations, that I think there's a mechanism where the Police Welfare Association and those involved, the civil servants authority has to step in as well, because there are clear guidelines as to what persons and how they can be reprimanded for such violations. And also if the person doesn't want to file a criminal report on this individual, whether it's the police, we do not care. At this point, if the person has done you harm, you have every right to stand up and just ignore what the Prime Minister and the Minister is saying. Because for them, as I said before, if they can make such an erroneous claims and make those claims in the public domain, what does that say for the victims and what does that say about them? It says a very serious question about their own morality and ethics when it comes to gender-based violence in St. Lucia.
Thank you so much for speaking with us, human rights advocate and UWI lecturer Felicia Dujon. Thank you so much once again for granting us that interview. Still to come, we'll be hearing from Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre. He says we can't live in a world of accusations, can we? You're watching NewsSpin right here on YouTube as well as the NewsSpin Facebook page and listening to the broadcast on Power 97.9 FM.
One of the biggest events for St. Lucia's Carnival has returned. Rum Bucket Waterland. More water, more paint, more foam. Sunday, 16th July at Gaiety Grounds from 11 p.m. Small coolers will be allowed, but no ice, no chaser. Must be 18 and older to enter. ID will be checked. Your ticket outlets are Steve's Barbershop and all the sell outlets. Rum Bucket Waterland.
That's when we reach the waterfront. We doing whatever the hell we want.
Get ready for more water, more paint, and more foam. Sponsored by KFC, Digicel, and White Oak.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people government, and businesses called upon us. We were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Tired of searching all over and still can't find the auto parts you need? At Fede Auto Parts, we make it easy for you and save you the frustration and running around. From Toyota to Chevy to Daihatsu to those rare truck parts, we've got you covered. And we're quick with special orders with frequent flights from Japan, the US, and the UK. Visit our store or give us a call at 450-7500 or 484-8141. Save time and avoid the line. Fede Auto Parts, Bois-de-Wage. Why stop anywhere else?
Introducing the new LuSelect Virtual Service Desk, where one click is your access to every service. From My Account to streetlight reports, requests for payment arrangements to settle arrears, change of name and address. Easy online forms give you access from anywhere and at any time. Every service you need at your fingertips. Go to our website, luselect.com, and click on the Virtual Service Desk widget. LuSelect's Virtual Service Desk. Every solution at your fingertips.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay. Flow is keeping you connected.
Night Meds is your dependable neighborhood pharmacy. You'll notice that upon entry, you are greeted by caring professional staff, attentive to your every need. Your prescriptions are always treated with a high degree of confidentiality, and we pride ourselves on providing speedy, efficient service. We carry a wide array commonly requested over-the-counter products, and our prices are very competitive. We offer blood pressure testing, blood sugar, and cholesterol testing. We're open to fill your prescriptions Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come visit Sadu's gas station on the Miku Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. Night Meds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
Glass Supermarket continues to be your family-oriented local supermarket which spares no effort to affordably bring you the world.
Trust Glass.
For quality and friendly service.
Trust Glass.
For daily excellent specials and fantastic prices.
Trust Glass.
For the best quality bread. Check out Glass for your delicious French pastries and meals.
Also, you must know that Glass caters for your special occasion with these quality French pastries and cakes.
Be sure to earn points on your Glass card as we say thank you for your support, St. Lucia. Glass Supermarket, contact number 452-8814.
Automotive art is a place to start. Automotive art is a place to start.
Yeah, look, check. We got a wide range of products that are automotive and do-it-yourself supplies if you got a moment. Smart staff that'll always know it. Got rims and tires from trucks to high performance to off-roading. Start hair tools, batteries, oil, and car care.
Automotive art is
last week that the Prime Minister, Minister with responsibility for national security, Philip J. Pierre, responded to allegations of sexual harassment in the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. I think one particular reporter posed several questions to him. We'll hear from the Prime Minister and National Security Minister right now, Mr. Philip J. Pierre.
Mr. PM, are you in possession of a letter from the PWA?
I have several letters from several people.
On sexual allegations?
I have several letters from several people. I have several letters from several people.
There was a press conference a while ago and the PWA president said he wrote to the commissioner on the matter and you also copied
I have a letter with accusations. I can't, you see, I'll tell you something. We can't live in a world of accusations, you know. Can we?
No, we can't, Mr. Prime Minister. But the responsible thing to do is to facilitate some kind of probe. That's what you can do, Mr. Prime Minister. And the reporter did ask him, said to him that you have been written on a particular issue involving the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. And he says, I have several letters. I have several. Yes, as Prime Minister, you will have several letters from investors, from people who are seeking various forms of support and opportunities, people who maybe want to serve on a board. Several letters, I agree, but the reporter made specific reference to allegations of sexual harassment in the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Again, that's what I must stress. Mia Mottley is the best Prime Minister in the world. How would Mia Mottley have responded to this question? But let's listen to our very own Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Philip J. Pierre, on this very important issue.
Mr. PM, are you in possession of a letter from the PWA?
I have several letters from several people.
On sexual allegations?
I have several letters from several people. I have several letters from several people.
There was a press conference a while ago and the PWA president said he wrote to the commissioner on the matter and you also copied
I have a letter with accusations. I can't, you see, I'll tell you something. We can't live in a world of accusations, you know. Can we?
Prime Minister, National Security Minister, Philip J. Pierre. Let's take a calls. Long overdue. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Good afternoon. You are on the air.
Tim, you know the line by...
I didn't expect you to be my first caller, but anyway, I welcome that. Go ahead, Rick. Yes, you're my first caller.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Jean-Baptiste Carr, the line, the more things change, the more they remain the same. You familiar with that?
Of course, yes.
You realize what led to the whole matter of the impacts going before the department and the Leahy law. You know what led to that?
Yeah.
Because a report was made, or rather, I'm being very careful with my words, it reached the Americans that there had been what they call gross violations of human rights. And they have an arrangement with the government that when these gross violations occur, government is to get into act. Well, not the government, rather government, because they call the police and everybody government in the states. And in fact, the police and so on are arms of government departments, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they expect action to be taken whenever there are violations of human rights.
And even allegations.
Well, we come to that because everything, until it is dealt by a court, is an allegation, Tim.
Yeah.
Allegations is not powerful, are we? That's what people seem to be thinking in here. You know, we keep on doing that. Allegations are not powerful, are we? And when you have somebody, and what's his name, the guy...
Cameron Law?
Cameron Law, in his capacity, he takes certain actions involving the people. It's like a union taking certain action, the people they represent, and for the action to be totally ignored. Okay? I mean, if unions were involved in this, you'd have a different thing right away. But what led to the impacts thing were allegations that people had been shot, and which were called gross violations of human rights. But they began as allegations. And what the State Department wanted was that such allegations not be ignored. That was all the U.S. State Department wrote about, began. That's where it started, calling on the authorities to take action on allegations of gross violations of human rights. You with me?
Of course, yes.
Good. Rape, sexual harassment, and all those things are violations of human rights. And it is double that when the authorities that were set up to deal with those throw them aside and ignore them. Now, I have a little bit of a problem in regarding the circumstances here. First, you had Laurie claiming that he wrote to the police. Right? Am I right?
Yes.
Guide me along.
Yeah, law. Mm-hmm.
Did he get any response whatsoever from any commissioner?
Not to my knowledge. No, he didn't get any.
So we don't even know if he got any.
But he did, for sure, he did not get from the previous police commissioner, Pelios. Okay. He did not get from her.
So we can say, if that is true, that his allegations with respect to people he represents in the police, the body he represents, were ignored.
Yeah. The letter was also copied, I think, to the Public Service Commission.
Public Service Commission, with no action.
Yeah.
If those things are true, then it becomes exactly what happened that led to impacts and where we are now still suffering the consequences of impacts. Okay, that's one. Now, Tim, I don't understand where the Prime Minister comes into this. I mean, it seems to me there are guidelines like your earlier guest.
Felicia Dujon.
Felicia was talking to you. I didn't hear it properly, but it seems to me there would be guidelines regarding what follows, who allegations are made to in cases like that, and what steps follow. I would imagine that. And it seems to me that the police commissioner, the burden is on the police commissioner, and it is thoughtless, mindless for any prime minister to make any kind of statement one way or another regarding something like that the police should be handling and the DPP and that lot, and not the prime minister. The prime minister does not want to be seen, or does not want to give any inkling, any hint that he may have an interest in this.
And that's the impression that he has conveyed, unfortunately.
Well, I don't want to say that. I am just saying I suppose you know what you're talking about.
No, based on what he said. The clip, based on what he said.
No, he said a number of things, Tim. I want to be fair to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister commented twice, but he would not be tolerating sexual harassment and such crimes such practices would not be tolerated in the police force under his watch. That's what he said.
Yes, he said it once. But?
No, I think it was twice.
On the circumstances, when he spoke last week, you would anticipate him to say that this matter should be investigated, at least. It should be investigated. But not say we can't live in a world of accusations, can we? Because the fact you make an accusation, you're not saying that the person is guilty of that accusation.
Ideally, Tim, and I would say properly, Tim, the Prime Minister, that's one of the best areas where he could have said, I have no comment on this matter at this point, because it is a matter for the police.
Well, he didn't, Rick. The fact is,
that's what I'm
he didn't.
saying. The more things change, we're not learning from our mistakes. So when he gets involved in this, all of a sudden he's the main figure being discussed in this. When in fact the burdens, serious burdens, should be placed on the police commissioner and the other people to whom Cameron Laurie wrote. But the Prime Minister should do his best to stay out of that, even if behind the scenes He has every right to ask the police commissioner what is happening regarding so-and-so, and to get updated so he can keep in touch with what's going on. It doesn't mean he's interfering one way or another. But there's nothing wrong with the Prime Minister being interested enough to find out from the police commissioner where that is going, because it just can't go. And we also have a reputation, Tim, of treating rape, especially when it involves a particular class, I hate that word, a particular level of citizen, that they disappear, or the women just all of a sudden forgot they were raped, or we know that has become the culture in this place. I am told we now have a law, domestic violence. I am told, I'm not sure, that we now have the law as we have in Canada and elsewhere, that once a report has been made, even though the complainant ducks out of it, etc., the case can proceed. Because in a case like rape, there's a lot of evidence other than what the complainant initially said.
Yeah.
Okay, will other countries prosecute anyway? And more than that, other countries prosecute people who do that, who come and report a thing and then duck out for whatever reason.
Yeah.
The time we're living in does not coincide with this primordial times we seem to be living. We know we're living at a particular time, but we're acting in primordial times. So this is, and I guess this is soon going to disappear as well. You know, I'm reading things on Facebook that makes this thing very political already. There's a lot of politics around it, but while the politics around it, and even if Cameron, whatever his name is, had political aspirations, it does not change the fact, if it is true, if the allegations have to be investigated anyway, and it doesn't matter if the guy spoke about it, if he encouraged action, because he has a political motivation. The law is the law. I mean, there are people you don't like, Tim.
Yeah.
You might not like. But if that guy goes and does something terrible and you know about it and you report him, are you reporting him because you don't like it?
No.
Are you going to prove that I don't like you?
It's based on the facts.
You committed a crime or the fact is a fact. It's totally removed from whether I like you or not.
Because even if you're judge or magistrate, you don't determine somebody to be guilty based on you disliking the individual.
How you feel about them?
Yeah, you know how you feel.
So it's very sad how this thing has started. It is wrapped up in all kinds of politics. We have made politicians out of our police force. We've done that too, Tim. We have turned our police force into a political party and not anticipating the consequences of that. Same with the Bar Association. The reason you're hearing nothing from the Bar Association on anything is because essentially the Bar Association are two political parties. It's split. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We have paid, we will continue to pay, unless we put a stop to this foolishness and let the authorities arm them to do their work. The Integrity Commission is a waste of time. We all know that. Politicians can do whatever they want. When was the last time you heard anybody talking about, I mean, we have so much talk about people coming to politics broke, that the party has to raise money to pay all kinds of things for us to get that guy to join the party. He can't pay his own bills. But by the time the guy's in office 3 years, he owns 3 buildings. Those things should be investigated.
The special prosecutor will take care of that. Thank you, Rick.
Well, we must stop talking about the special prosecutor too, because that becomes something of a decoy. If we're going to have a special prosecutor, let us get him. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. Somebody says, even as Minister of National Security, I disagree with Rick. This is very much pertinent to Pierre. Let's see if we have some more of your WhatsApp messages and your comments in the chat room. Okay, we'll take a call quickly. And then Kimani will go through some of the comments. Good afternoon, NewsSpin, you're on the air. Hello.
A pleasant good afternoon to you and your listeners all over the world. PW is on the line now, Timothy.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
Timothy, we all know, Timothy, there are fractions between at the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. There are fractions among the police officers, and when I look at it, Timothy, every effort must be made to investigate the alleged sexual harassment towards female police officers within the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. I say this because the event of the last 2 weeks has been very dramatic. The former police commissioner, Mosheri, said that he never received any letter from the police welfare informing him of sexual harassment within the police force. The last police commissioner, from what we heard, she received a letter, but there was no response from her. Now, this brings into question the police commissioner, his competency of the day-by-day runnings of the police force. There are many people, that knows what is going on in the police force. There are people in the public, there are people in government that knows that a lot of police officers do have skeletons in the closet.
But that remains hearsay, caller. But again, as we've been saying, what is warranted is some kind of investigation.
This is what I'm saying. But those who have skeletons in their closet, Timothy, you believe that they will come forward, especially the senior officers, to say anything concerning the sexual harassment, alleged sexual harassment in the police force? Do you believe they will come forward? Because they know that they themselves have skeletons in their own closet. So they will delay, impede, hamper the investigation because they are no better off than the officers on the investigation. That will be on the investigation.
I don't think we should be ahead of ourselves in casting aspersion. I think what we should be... No, caller. What we should be crying out for is for some kind of probe to take place, and let us not make any kind of assumption even before that probe gets in the way. Thank you so much for calling, sir. Let's move on to some of your WhatsApp messages and your discussions in the chat room. Kimani, discussion in the chat room.
Someone says, exactly, PW. Another comment. But to me, the PM comments were right, innocent until being proven guilty. If there are allegations, we can't use it against someone unless he or she has been investigated or taken to court. Someone says, how can the Prime Minister recuse himself from performing in his capacity where national security is concerned? Is it not his portfolio? Rick, I'm leaning toward disagreeing with your contribution on this matter. Someone says, I have a question. Someone please make me wise. If there is sexual harassment in the police force, who is investigating the matter? And if it goes to court, which officers are going to be present? Someone says, it's hard because I have been there when I was a young woman working in different places in St. Lucia. Sometimes you don't even want to go to work. Someone says that affected female officers should file a lawsuit and let the axe fall where it may. Another comment, Tim, do you find it strange with all this happening with the government so far? There is little or no criticizing of the government.
And you have to ask, where is civil society in that particular matter? Where are the women who have been championing the cause of other women in St. Lucia over several years now? Isn't it appropriate that they come forward and speak on behalf of women who cannot defend themselves?
Someone says, Tim, I just passed in the Madeline and there are some workers cleaning by the road. The people are cleaning the leaves in the grass by the road, and what they are doing is so untidy. Why didn't they just cut the leaves and blow the leaves away? So they are just wasting taxpayers' money to do untidy work, and within a few weeks they will send the caretakers to cut the grass by the road. Another comment, someone says, is it not the same PJP who, while in opposition, made many allegations of corruption against Shasni Guy Joseph and the UWP? Another comment, if there was to have an investigation in the police force by a credible agency, 80% of the police force would be indicted. Another comment, someone says, Tim kindly played a statement by Ms. Poyet that Ms. Poyet made after passing the anti-abusive bill when it came into office last year.
I should be able to play that clip, but tomorrow on our broadcast.
Someone is asking, who will be conducting the investigation?
Well, the police would have to conduct the investigation. They are the authority that should be dealing with things of that nature.
Someone is jesting. 5 allegations, then the acting commissioner is an alligator. Another comment. Tim, if it wasn't nipped in the bud 30 or so years ago, then those coming up in the ranks after will simply follow as if it is the norm. Someone says, when I saw the finalists for the upcoming Calypso finals, I didn't see her black. I was bursting with laughter.
Hold that point, because as we said earlier on, no referendum, no her black, and some people they're very much disappointed with that outcome, considering all the politics behind this particular song, which I found to be very, very creative. It started with a demonstration outside the island's parliament a few weeks ago, and the presence of the leader of the opposition. And one would have thought that, somebody singing a calypso on this particular incident, that song would have been so boring. But it turned out to be very creative and also very catchy.
This government that we have, that are not listening to anything, and they're so arrogant, they're so drunk on their own self-importance, that they are taking over our country and ruining our country, and it's time for us to stand up. At the end of the day, we have to let our voices be heard.
Leader of opposition, plan a big demonstration. He say he disagree with such a policy and started a protest action. If you heard him, no referendum, no system, no referendum, no system, no referendum, no system, no referendum.
This government that we have, that are not listening to anything, and they're so arrogant, they're so drunk on their own self-importance, that they are taking over our country and ruining our country, and it's time for us to stand up. At the end of the day, we have to let our voices be heard.
Leader of opposition, plan a big demonstration. He say he disagree with such a policy and started a protest action. If you heard him, no referendum, no system, no referendum, no system, no referendum, no system, no referendum.
Her black in the finals of this year's Calypso competition. The finalists are Mighty Sizzler, Mystic, Oshun, Queen, Yads, Reddy, TC Brown. Also, you have T Blacks, T Caro, and Wally. The defending monarch is Desrel. So the Calypso finals, the finalists, once again, Mighty Sizzler, Mystic, Oshun, Queen, Yads, Reddy, TC Brown, T Blacks, T Caro, and Wally. So we all set for yet another Calypso competition, but unfortunately, Her Black did not make it to the finals, as well as Educator. I really liked Educator's songs, and also Her Black's No Referendum. Let's take a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Hi, good afternoon, Tim.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Yeah, that song from Her Black.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I heard it the first time, I said that Her Black I go make it, my brother.
Why?
I've been following Her Black from the time he entered Calypso. I've been supporting him, but that one, I said, Her Black will fail, and he ain't go make it in the finals.
Why do you think he failed? Why he failed?
No, because it's a political thing. You know, in St. Lucia, as long as a political thing, singing political, you ain't go make it.
Maybe more than that.
Make it. Beg your pardon?
It might be more than that, caller. He might be judged. For example, his second song, I don't know the second song, but his second song maybe was weak.
I haven't heard the second song.
Yeah, maybe it was weak. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't heard the second song.
All right, caller.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you so much. So it's back to Calypso Jail for her black. More of your calls and your WhatsApp messages and your discussions coming up on the program, including our NewsSpin news of the day, and a former regional leader has died. You are watching NewsSpin on our NewsSpin Facebook page. We are also on Power 97.9 FM and YouTube.
Exceeding your expectations is what we strive for at Lazarus Funeral Home. Losing a loved one isn't something you can foresee. Since the beginning, affordability has been one of our priorities. Every day we're proving that burials don't have to be expensive. If cost is a factor in your time of bereavement, call Lazarus Funeral Home. We have coffins starting at $800 plus taxes. Nothing can cause more disappointment than poor quality. Help us help you keep your last memory of your loved one sacred. Make it special. Make it Lazarus Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Located at Bibliothèque Castries at 452-7491 and New Dock Road V4 at 454-6555.
Lucilec kaveti ou pour point précaution durant saison cyclone Salah. Mi an ti commission qui kaywen de ou protéger la vie ou ek propriétaire ou. Kouye Lucilec avant ou trim et ben couper pied bois qui pouet ligne électrique. Veillez pour ligne courant électrique avant ou monter l'échelle. Fait assurer l'échelle, scaffold et bout d'outils ou ka servi, pas venir moins qui 10 pieds hors ligne courant électrique. Pas jamais servi appliance et ben outils qui ka servi courant électrique. Des wall côté qui mouillé et ben en la pli. Ça c'était en commission hors Lucilec.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Why pay full price for your mobile when you can pay half? Just bundle your home internet and mobile services with Flow and save 50% on your mobile bill. That's money in your pocket every month. Plus, now you get free YouTube and WhatsApp data. And you can share your plan with up to 3 other numbers. Upgrade now and get a free smartphone. Switch and keep your number. Learn more at discoverflow.co.
Tired of searching all over and still can't find the auto part you need? At Fede Auto Parts, we make it easy for you and save you the frustration and running around. From Toyota to Chevy to Daihatsu to those rare truck parts, we've got you covered. And we're quick with special orders with frequent flights from Japan, the US, and the UK. Visit our store or give us a call at 450-7500 or 484-8141. Save time and avoid the line. Fede Auto Parts, Wadawaj. Why stop anywhere else?
One of the biggest events for St. Lucia's Carnival has returned. Rum Bucket Waterland. More water, more paint, more foam. Sunday, 16th July at Gaiety Grounds from 11 p.m. Small coolers will be allowed, but no ice, no chaser. Must be 18 and older to enter. ID will be checked. Your ticket outlets are Steve's Barbershop and all the sell outlets. Rum Bucket Waterland.
That's when we reach the waterfront. We doing whatever the hell we want.
Get ready for more water, more paint, and more foam. Sponsored by KFC, Digicel, and White Oak.
Glass Supermarket continues to be your family-oriented local supermarket which spares no effort to affordably bring you the world.
Trust Glass.
For quality and friendly service.
Trust Glass.
For daily excellent specials and fantastic prices.
Trust Glass.
For the best quality bread. Check out Glass for your delicious French pastries and meals.
Also, you must know that glass caters for your special occasion with these quality French pastries and cakes.
Be sure to earn points on your glass card as we say thank you for your support, St. Lucia. Glass Supermarket, contact number 452-8814.
Plastic Solutions, catering to all your commercial and domestic plastic and paper bag needs. We also manufacture printed and non-printed plastic bags. Located on the cul-de-sac Bexo Highway, Plastic Solutions is an environmentally friendly company because of its high standard plastic recycling process. For orders and inquiries, please call 758-451-5577 or visit us on the cul-de-sac Bexo Highway.
Automotive art is a place to start. Automotive art is a place to start.
Yeah, look, check. We got a wide range of products that are automotive and do-it-yourself supplies if you got a moment. Smart staff that'll always know it. Got rims and tires from trucks to high performance to off-roading. Start here, tools, batteries, oil, and car care.
Automotive art is a place to start.
Listen up, St. Lucia. Get ready for battle. Spiritual warfare. It's phase 2 of Operation Rescue St. Lucia. The venue, the Castries Market Steps. The dates, Wednesday 28th, Thursday 29th, and Friday 30th of June 2023. The time on each day, 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. The host, Redemption Ministries. The speaker, God's General, Reverend Benedict Jean-Baptiste, Pastor Ben. Call or WhatsApp him on 717-1707 for more details. Come out and join the ranks at the Castries Market Steps Warfare Rally, Phase 2 of Operation Rescue St. Lucia.
Chatroom Kimani, I think we should have a chatroom comment of the day very soon, maybe as soon as tomorrow, because those comments in the chatroom, enlightening, engaging, can be very entertaining as well.
Agreed. Someone says, Tim, if you were accused as a so-called media terrorist, would NewsSpin continue to spin? Another comment, someone says, The Voice had allegations made against the Royal Police Force some years ago on those same issues. To serve and protect should stand for something in this country. We have another comment. Someone says, Her Black out, Philip JP out. Let's see. Someone says, my favorite song is Back to Calypso, Jail. Another comment, I worked with a security company. One night they sent me to work with a guy who threatened me with a knife if I didn't do whatever. I called the main office for help, was asked to write a report. I did that. Can you imagine I was asked to attend a meeting? The commenter listed some names. Said they told me they would handle the guy, but I should forget about the incident or else they would get guys from the company to say they had slept with me and I was sexually harassing them. Many of them have left the company. God is not asleep. Someone says, Tim, civil society are not concerned. They are only concerned about their pockets, not the citizens. Another comment, PJP is the minister directly responsible for the police, so if an accusation of sexual harassment or rape is being made against his top cop, the best thing to do is to place the cop on administrative leave and open an investigation into the matter. The best thing to do is not promote him and put him in a position where he can decide the outcome.
Well,
of the case.
the National Security Minister is responsible for the security of the state, but the Home Affairs Minister is the one who's responsible for the police, the fire service, and also the prison officers. But let me go through a WhatsApp message. It is such a shame how politics has divided our people. I've never seen it so bad. Even when people see wrong things happening, they keep their mouth shut just because of party support. We are not patriotic at all. Another one says, Tim, this has been going on for years in the police force. I applaud the women who came forward. Instead of getting support, they are being victimized over and over again. Let me see if I have some more. Someone says the Prime Minister says we can't live in a world of accusations. The Prime Minister should simply respond to a simple question by saying it's being investigated. Please remind the Prime Minister that he and his colleagues have accused Alan Shastney and Guy Joseph of being corrupt and have still not presented an iota of evidence. Should we continue to live in their world of accusations? And let's see if we have some more of your comments to go through. Somebody says, I understand Rick saying the Prime Minister should leave it to the police. However, what happens if the allegation is against someone very close to the top of the police hierarchy? Another comment, Rick is so right. The force now is run by politics, especially this time around. Promotions, upgrades, 99.9% red. Let's take a call. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes, I've been listening to your program there for the back and forth, Tim. And we are once again spinning top in mud, Tim. While Rick, there's some merit in what Rick is saying, Rick has to come to the understanding that Philippe J. Pierre is the Prime Minister. And not only is he the Prime Minister, he is the Minister of National Security. And that response to this very pertinent question demonstrates once again his ineptitude as a Prime Minister. That was a very poor response to a question. While he didn't have to answer the question directly, he should have said, yes, I'm aware of it, whatever, and this is being handled, an investigation is currently ongoing. Whatever, or I'm not at liberty at this point, to discuss it, it's under investigation. But to say we can't live in a world of accusation, this is just, I don't know, this is just appalling.
Of course we can't live in a world of accusation, because what should follow is investigation.
No, but
you get my point?
We do live in a world of accusation because that's what they won the last election on.
Yeah.
Tim, the other thing I was saying earlier on in terms of spinning top in mud, our current system has no forms of control. The fact remains that the people that are supposed to be passing the laws they are the ones responsible for passing the laws to control themselves. So when you have politicians making the laws to protect their own selves, these laws will never be passed. These laws will not make the light of day. And that is where we need to have some form of separation. The police should not be investigating the police. That the letter, as far as I look at it from Cameron Law, should not have gone to the police commission. It should be going to an outside commission that is going to make sure that letters like these are going to be, probed and questions will be asked and the necessary. Because you are going to somebody who knows that they're guilty, in essence, and you're going to tell them, okay, could you make me tell me the rules, how I'm going to prosecute you? This doesn't make any sense, Tim. I don't know where we are going to go with this system we have right now in St. Lucia, where the people responsible are the same ones making the laws. I just don't know where we're going with that, Tim. So if you have an answer, maybe you could share it with us. But I really don't see how it's going to work in its present form. I don't.
Well, we're good for enacting laws, but not for policing them, caller. Because international organizations are the ones pressuring us in the first place to enact such legislation.
Yeah, but that is the same thing again, Tim. You see, we are not doing what we need to do as a people. We are being forced. Every time our hands are being forced. So we ourselves, we are not recognizing our responsibility as a people to do the right thing. And still, when we are trying to do the right thing, the wrong people are given the task to do it, because they are the ones most times are guilty of what they've been asked to solve.
Mm-hmm.
So we need some separation of the thing. I continue to say, for some reason, politicians turn to kings once they get elected. I don't know why. These 17 men and women have way too much power, and something must be done to take some of this power away from these politicians, because their hands are in every single thing that you could think of, and that should not be.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. WhatsApp message. Home Affairs should immediately draft a sexual harassment policy if one does not already exist and have it reviewed, agreed, and implemented by the RSLPF. In the absence of a policy at the force, the default Government of St. Lucia policy should be the one utilized. Once that is done, then the PSC and the relevant authority, example, some Deputy Police Commissioner will have no choice but to enforce the procedure contained therein up to and including a tribunal or court hearing leading to criminal or civil remedies. Time for this nonsense to stop. Another WhatsApp message. We heard from the MP for Gros City that people within the community are dumping garbage in the Corinth River, which causes flooding in the area, and many properties and homes are negatively impacted by the floods. Whereas this may be true, but before Storm Debbie on 10th September 1994, one of the well-known communication companies built its headquarters at Corinth Estate. During the construction of the building site preparation, a number of trees were cut and dumped into the Corinth River, which resulted in many properties and homes being flooded. During Hurricane Thomas on November 8, 2010, a similar situation occurred where residents at Corinth Estate was again flooded out. The communication company built a low-lying bridge across the river leading to that property. As I understand it, the company was advised to build a swing of shifting bridge high enough that would allow the water to flow freely, as this is the main waterway coming from Babonneau, Mornier, and other areas nearby and exiting at Bois-de-Wange Beach. The Labrie-Lot River is one of the main waterways on island. The company was advised to construct the swing bridge but cited lack of funds to do so. As a result, we are being flooded at every weather system, the latest being November 6, 2022. Where we were negatively impacted, our homes and vehicles were damaged, which cost us millions of dollars to repair or replace. Most of us in the area are retired government workers with a small pension. We invested our gratuity building apartments under our homes to rent. Since, please bear with me, it continues. Since the floods, our tenants have vacated the apartments, leaving us without a means of an income. We wish that the Ministry of Infrastructure look into the matter of the low bridge which block debris, including tree trunks, etc., from flowing free, which will prevent our area from flooding. Thank you, Corinth Estate Home Owners Association. Let's go into another subject. The number of collisions and crashes that we are experiencing on our roads, resulting in so many people being injured and also so many people losing their lives in the process. Police are reporting that on Saturday, June 24th, 2023, officers attached to the traffic unit responded to a report of a fatal traffic accident on the Bexar Highway, Castries, at about 6:35 p.m. The incident involved a motor vehicle and one pedestrian. The pedestrian was later identified as Victor Bernardin, a 57-year-old resident of Bexar, Castries. Bernardin was transported to the OKEU hospital via ambulance. Officers were later informed that he succumbed to his injuries by a medical practitioner. Investigations are ongoing in this matter. So far for this year, according to the Traffic Department of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, the island has recorded some 15 road fatalities, 15. For the entire of 2022, that's last year, 24 road deaths, involving 21 crashes. Now, of the 15 road deaths that have occurred for this year, so far, 7 of those occurred in Castries. 7 of the 15 occurred in Castries. Obviously, we have to do something about this, not only for the police and the traffic department, but road users, whether you are a pedestrian, somebody riding on a motorcycle or a cycle, or driving in a vehicle. We certainly have to be careful, and the statistics are very grim. 15 road deaths occurring so far for 2023, and for the entire 2022, St. Lucia recorded 24 road fatalities. We are into the 6th month of the year. So if the trend continues, we could easily have 15 road deaths for this year. We don't want that to be the case, obviously. Let's continue with your calls at 452-2979. We have a call in line. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello.
Hi, Timothy. Good afternoon.
Yes, I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Timothy, two concerns, two issues that scream loud at me from the passage of Tropical Storm Brett. I just want to point to them and speak to, the extent to which it exposes our quality of life and, our nation, supposedly with 2 Nobel laureates and just our mindset. The first one, you must have seen this video clip from a gentleman who visited the Fiji beach and recorded the deluge of plastics and other, debris and so on that washed up from the storm.
Yes, I saw it, yeah.
And that was quite an eyesore. And that speaks volumes, again, to where we at. This is not plastic that just ended up there. It came from the highlands of Babuno and Grozili and all other surrounding areas. And of course, washed up. You are left to imagine how much of that is under the sea, because obviously not all of it would have been washed up, and the implications of all of that. And it's a problem that has existed for quite a while. I go back to, the likes of Gabriel Coco Charles as an advocate on those issues. I remember working with the National Trust, over 20 years ago, and we had a theme for an entire year called St. Lucia is choking on plastics. And it has actually gotten worse, And in the clip this gentleman did, he spoke to the need for our government officials to look at putting in place legislation in which there would be some kind of charge on the sale of, plastic products, the soft drinks, etc. And I think he would have even mentioned the KFC and so on. So that, and that's not new. We know that approach has been used in other territories. So it can go back into helping to maintain and address the problem, okay? The second issue that screamed loud at me, Tim, has to do, it's a big concern about how fickle we are as a country and the whole issue of resilience. Timothy, we had a sub-hurricane storm, but yet still in most instances, everything went down. Where I live, we had no electricity almost for an entire day, no water almost for an entire day, and our mobile networks were affected severely. This is a subtropical storm system. So it begs the question, where are we? Where in terms of the sturdiness of our systems, etc., the whole issue of communications is so important. And so, I mean, I am almost, you notice I don't call that much because you just wonder, is anybody listening? And Timothy, can I make a suggestion to you? You have this young lady who works along with you.
Kimani.
And reads, Kimani. Maybe you might want to suggest to management that they upgrade her role, in which I'm just trying to look for something that would, she can call the various government departments or ministries and say, look, this is a major issue that came up from NewsSpin, because NewsSpin is widely listened to. The program is a very popular program. And we would like to table this as an issue for concern and come back and report to us as to where it's at, etc. And I don't know. And Timothy, I want you to also recognize, and I'm saying so to reflect on the general media, the power that we have as citizenry. And perhaps you might want to consider going down the road organizing a NewsSpin demonstration. I'm prepared to work with you on that.
And then people are gonna say, you see, I told you the guy is political. He's taking his program to the people, to the streets. He's joining the leader of the opposition, following the footsteps of the leader of the
If
opposition.
you're organizing a demonstration on plastics, etc., that has nothing to do with politics. And you have your placard saying, okay, we need legislation on this, etc., etc. I don't know, something to consider, because I'm at a point where I feel, look, we're just talking, yap, and nothing happens, nothing changes, etc. But I just want to go back to those two issues that screamed at me. The wash up of all that plastic, all that nastiness and so on. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And the other issue of resilience. I mean, our communication system was, as they say, flat at air.
Do you think maybe there's need for greater use of technology? Because I'm sure that through the use of technology, you have the latest equipment that could withstand a subtropical storm or even a hurricane to a certain extent, whether it's water, electricity, or telecommunications. So maybe we could modernize. It would come with additional cost.
Yes, the companies have to invest back into the system so that we could be assured of the quality level, the resilience that is required for those, because these things have serious implications.
Yeah.
You can imagine if we had a category 2 or 3, well, what was going to happen? I just wanted to reflect on those concerns of mine, and I don't know, but consider, upgrading Kimani's salary and giving her that more tangible role and coming back and reporting to the People's Parliament, so to speak.
All right, we'll endeavor to look into that, caller. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
All right. So we have some sad news. Former Barbados Prime Minister Sir Erskine Sanford, he passed away earlier today at the age of 86, the fourth Prime Minister of Barbados, serving from 1987 to 1994. In 1986, the DLP, that's the Democratic Labour Party, won. Sanford was made Deputy Prime Minister. In 1987, Errol Barrow died and Sanford succeeded him. He led the DLP to victory in 1991 elections. In 1994, however, Sanford narrowly lost a no-confidence motion brought against him by the opposition when a number of members of his own party, the DLP, broke ranks to vote in support of the motion. Elections were called in 1994, 2 years ahead of schedule, but the DLP lost to the BLP's, the Barbados Labour Party's Owen Arthur. So Erskine Sanford, former Prime Minister of Barbados, passed away this morning. Let's take a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. I think we lost that call, so yes, call is coming back. Good afternoon. You're on the air. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. Okay. Let me turn my attention to you, Kimani. What's in the chat room?
Someone says, kudos to the group that cleaned the VG beach of all the debris brought down by the tropical storm. Another comment, someone says, Tim, once they say that they are investigating, they finish with it. We have someone saying, I agree with the MP on this one. St. Lucians lack national pride. Another comment, Tim, it is the job of the Public Service Commission to deal with that matter. The Public Service Commission is responsible for promoting, transferring, and disciplining public officers. Very recently, the PSC did not promote a senior public servant on the alleged sexual misconduct. I call on the PSC to be consistent. Let's see. Someone is asking that you play Tikaro's song, Back to the Future, Tim. And that is about it in the chat room.
Thank you so much. WhatsApp message. I am so disappointed as a police officer. I'm disgusted. I can't see why people like me have remained at the lower level. Because officers who stand for integrity and professionalism cannot prosper in an environment of preference and corruption. Let me go through another WhatsApp message. Tim, do not fall into that demonstration trap. It will be all over for you. Mark my words. Another one. Tim, why don't the government put a catch net at the end of those rivers where they meet the river to prevent all that trash from entering the sea? Another thing, why don't they deploy a sewer to pump water out in the drains in the dry season? There are no signs of rain, but the drains usually filled with water, I think, is debris. Another one. I'm referring to the community carnival. Oh, okay, let's see there. Tim, did you see what happened in Sufre over the weekend? If all of St. Lucia could come together and protest in that way for things that actually matter in this country. Perhaps then the government and private sector will begin to take citizens seriously. I'm referring to the community carnival, by the way. Maybe that's something we can explore during the course of the week. Another one says, Tim, if I'm your friend and I'm the prime minister of a country, you want to be the... All right, I don't think I should go through this particular comment. Another one. Tim, the reason why the leaders like the prime minister don't want to launch probes into sexual harassment is because they are afraid they might have to take down their own family and friends. Let's see there. Okay, that will do it as far as some of your WhatsApp messages. Okay, let's take a final call and then we'll have our NewsSpin news of the day. Quick comment from you, caller. Good afternoon. Yes, sir. Moi bien. Moi là. On a l'habitude qu'à parler vite, so parler vite maintenant. Nous pas tellement temps.
Ok.
Oui.
Tim, ils sont police qui va porter table va porter ba ou man.
Pour qui ça dit ça?
On va faire phase il pas nouvelle depuis semaine passée.
Ça qui fait phase.
Côté un bouc foutu comme un coup de couteau en tête. Il y a 24 stitches. Vous revenez pour l'audience, vous venez pour $5,000.
Ok.
Ça va revenir en nouvelle occasion.
Mon content ça.
Tim crier ça pour les ça il ça.
Oui.
Ça doit qui m'a dit il veut pas ça, il va pas ça.
Okay. Merci, Arthur. Finally, our NewsSpin news of the day. NewsSpin news of the day. New Zealand leader's plane so prone to breakdowns, he takes a backup on China trip. New Zealand leader's plane so prone to breakdowns, he takes a backup on China trip. And this has been our NewsSpin news of the day. Likewise, our broadcast. Thank you so much for watching on YouTube as well as on our NewsSpin Facebook page. Thank you for listening on Power 97.9 FM. My name is Timothy Poleon. Please have an enjoyable Monday, and we'll be back, God willing, tomorrow afternoon, same time, 12:30. Goodbye.